Across the Fence, we're gearing up for Arbor Day. We'll learn about the value and benefits of urban trees, and we'll meet the winners of Vermont's Arbor Day contest. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. Arbor Day is an American tradition that dates back more than 130 years. Each state celebrates Arbor Day at different times depending on its climate. In Vermont, the first Friday in May is Arbor Day, so this year Vermont's Arbor Day is Friday, May 6th. There are events and activities happening all over the state. To find out more, I'm joined by two guests. Next to me is Rebecca Roy. Rebecca is the conservation educator at the Vermont Department of Forests, Parks, and Recreation. And alongside Rebecca is Gwen Kozlowski. Gwen is the Outreach and Education Coordinator with the Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program, which is a joint effort between UVM Extension and the Forest, Park, and Rec Department. Thanks you both for coming in. Now, Rebecca, one of the statewide Arbor Day events is the Growing Works of Art contest. Tell us what that's all about.
Our Growing Works of Art contest is a contest for students across Vermont, and it's the opportunity for them to learn about trees and celebrate Arbor Day by studying a tree, creating a work of art around that, and doing research and writing on the tree.
So what's this year's theme?
Healthy trees, healthy communities.
And how many students or schools took part in this year's contest?
This year we had 340 entries from 20 schools from all across Vermont.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is.
How does the Growing Works of Art contest fit into a school's curriculum?
We are really blessed in Vermont to have a long heritage of environmental and outdoor learning in our schools, but our contest is aligned with all the current learning standards, which really gives teachers the opportunity to explore and use our curriculum materials.
Mm-hmm. And so, Gwen, what are some of the other opportunities for Vermonters to celebrate Arbor Day?
We encourage folks to get out and engage with their local tree boards or conservation commissions. Folks can visit our website, vtcommunityforestry.org, for a map of resources and communities that are active. Mm-hmm. And we are also hosting our first annual Vermont Arbor Day Conference, and this will be hosted on Friday, May 6th at the Vermont College of Fine Arts in Montpelier. We will have 3 tracks of workshops that have ranged from information for, we hope for everybody, mm-hmm. From information on tree risk assessment to walking with an arborist, and ends with an ice cream social. So we hope that folks can join us then.
Now, how can people get involved and learn more about Vermont's trees?
Our website is a wealth of information on anything from tree planting, tree selection, tree pruning, and a tree aftercare. And if folks are looking for some more hands-on learning, we are offering our SOLS, Stewardship of the Urban Landscape Tree Steward Program, this June in Essex, Vermont. Mm-hmm. And this is a program with over 15 years of course offerings and 400 participants, and is a really great way for folks to get active and engaged in their local communities around trees.
Well, that sounds exciting. Well, throughout history and literature, trees have appeared as the symbol of life. They clean the air we breathe, and they help filter the water that we drink, particularly in urban areas. Across the Fence spoke with the arborist in Burlington about the health and development of the city's trees.
We're fortunate here in Burlington to have quite an awesome urban forest, in my opinion. Spent a number of years here as city arborist, and virtually when I started in 1980-ish, we had quite a depleted urban forestry in the aftermath of Dutch elm disease. So we had a pretty extensive replanting program spearheaded by our mayor at the time, Bernie Sanders. And we planted quite a few trees with volunteers over the years to get our urban forests back, built back up again, and diversifying our trees and hitting the neighborhoods, the main streets. We are not caught up, but we're a whole lot better off than we were. We have about 12,000 trees between our streets, parks, cemeteries, bike path, and public ways in Burlington. I think the biggest benefit is the pleasure it brings to the people that live in Burlington and visit Burlington, and they enjoy the greenery on the streets, a sense of just comfort, and they also understand the other benefits as well, as far as cleaning our air, cooling our streets and our buildings. And the latest and really big one now is helping stormwater management with how the trees will catch the rain in the canopy, and also through the root systems and helping catch and capture that water before it gets into our lake. It's been interesting and fascinating and awesome for me to watch the development of Burlington over the years I've been here, and one of those is Waterfront Park. The city a number of years ago bought this property known as the Urban Reserve in the waterfront, and this is the first real development piece of that property. And it started in '85, '86 in the vision to bring the old Burlington Yacht Club, which is now the Burlington Boathouse, back to Burlington's waterfront, and then the vision of this park, and the first park developed right here on the waterfront, which has just been an awesome spot over the years, and it gets used a lot, to say the least. It's always booked for events down here. And being involved with the development of this was quite interesting to me at the time, as the whole process, working with the residents in the city, the Act 250 folks, to develop this, because it was a commercial industrial site that the city had the vision to bring it back and make it a usable park space and public space for the citizens and visitors of Burlington. So there really was not a lot here at the time. Railroad tracks, very industrial, and we had the vision to create this park and design it. And of course, my involvement with that design was working with the landscape architects to what do we put for trees here, how do we space them, and going through that process was interesting, because the buildings on the east side of the park with those property owners didn't want the vision of the lake and the Adirondacks blocked, which made a lot of sense. So in choosing and selecting the trees, one thing that we did is we had view corridors between them so that people could actually have a vision of the lake. And we matched that up with the silver lindens that are on the bike path now, and the planting beds with the calorie pears that are in there, along with the rhododendrons, the purple rhododendrons. The bike path was part of the Rails to Trails years ago, where the railroad tracks were abandoned, and they're now being used for multi-use paths. And that's one of the beautiful things about Burlington, is we have this wonderful bike path for 8 miles along the waterfront. And we are in the process now of upgrading that and renovating the bike path. My hope is to see Burlington's urban forest grow, obviously, in the future, and increase in canopy coverage. We're working on a lot of things. We're working on reducing our impervious surfaces in Burlington, and you do that by adding green space, adding trees, and making it a more green and livable city. So my hope is to see it continue and just get better.
All right, thanks to city arborist Warren Spinner for that perspective on the city's trees and parks. Back here in the studio, we're going to turn our attention now to the Growing Works of Art contest. Rebecca, who are the young people that we're going to meet today?
We're about to meet all the winners of the Growing Works of Art contest, grades 1 through 8.
All right, terrific. Well, we're going to recognize our award winners by grade, and our first grade winner is Ziva Baker. Ziva is a student at the Westford Elementary School. Her award-winning art features a beautiful birch tree, and it's accompanied by a poem that Ziva wrote. Now, in part, the poem says, "The birch tree is a deciduous tree. It is hardwood. The bark is like paper." Well, congratulations, Ziva. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. All right, moving on now to second grade. The winner is Virginia Monger. She is a What is it?
Munger.
Munger, thank you so much for correcting me. She's a student at the Rochester Elementary School. Virginia's drawing shows a cherry tree. Well, that's beautiful. And she wrote, "The cherry tree gives you food. It gives you something pretty to look at. Cherries have red juice that tastes good." Nicely done, Virginia. Thanks so much for coming in. Up next is our third grade winner, who's Ryan Ostrom from the Weathersfield Elementary School. Ryan's artwork and story reveal a personal touch. Ryan drew a single tree, and wrote that this tree is next to a Scutney. He went on to say that this tree lets me see what I could do and draw. This tree opened a new and improved version of drawing to me. It's a great drawing. I love it. Thank you so much for coming in. All right, Ben Nowicki is our next winner. Ben is the 4th grade at the Mountain School in Wynn Hall. Ben focused his work on the maple tree. Along with his colorful drawing, Ben noted that many benefits of maple trees, including maple syrup, the fact that they're excellent for shade, and the array of colors they provide in the fall. I love all the colors in that one. Of course, Vermont is known for its maple trees, so Ben, you definitely picked a popular and important tree in Vermont. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, our 5th grade winner is unable to be with us today, but we want to congratulate and acknowledge Emma Dana of the Union Street School in Springfield. Her picture features the survivor tree. Emma says the survivor tree got its name during a school renovation. At the time of the renovation, the tree was uprooted and placed in a burlap bag, and it stayed that way for 2 years until it was finally replanted. Emma went on to say that the tree represents perseverance and has taught her never to give up. Joining me now is the 6th grade winner in Arbor Day's Work of Art contest. This is Evan Joquin?
Yes.
Okay, who attends Killington Elementary School. Tell us about your picture and what inspired you.
My picture is of a white birch tree surrounded by the Green Mountains of Vermont in the middle of summer.
Beautiful.
Right before autumn, when the leaves start to change colors.
And you accompanied your picture by some things that you learned about birch trees. Would you please share what you wrote?
Well, birch trees are very good for kindling, and they make very beautiful furniture. Birch trees also have very unique leaves, so they are...
A lot of different colors.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you very much for coming in. I love your drawing. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Up next is Natalie Messier. Now, Natalie is the 7th grade winner, and she attends the Randolph Union Middle School. Hi. You also featured the birch tree in your work of art. Tell us about your drawing.
Where I live, there's lots of birch trees, and I was inspired by them, and I wanted to make my own kind of birch trees, so...
I think that's beautiful. You
Thank
did a
you.
really nice job. What did you write to go along with your artwork?
Okay. Yellow birch tree. These birch trees are not only beautiful, but they have many benefits to our community. They take in harmful greenhouse gases and give us harmless chemicals that we need, like oxygen. They also provide perfect shading, which slows down water evaporation, meaning they save water. Also, on the bank of a river, the roots of the tree hold in the soil, preventing erosion, along with flooding. Trees are a very important piece of nature that helps us in many ways.
Now, are you involved in other art classes?
No, I like to paint on my own at home, though.
Well, congratulations. It's great. Thank you so much for coming on today. Our final award winner this afternoon is 8th grade student from Rochester School. This is Teresa Seward. Hi. Stewart, thank you. Congratulations for coming in. At least I'm consistent with mispronouncing everyone's name. Tell me about your artwork.
Well, I drew a Vermont sugar maple, and I thought it really represented what most families and businesses do around here.
And tell me what you wrote to go along with your picture.
I wrote, every spring, families and businesses get out to tap beautiful sugar maples. These magnificent trees provide sap that is quick to be boiled down to delicious maple syrup. Homemade maple syrup and pancakes is the perfect recipe for full stomachs and memories that will last a lifetime.
Did you learn a lot about maple sugaring?
In 4th grade, our teacher took us out to sugar, and that was my first experience.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, thanks so much for coming in. Now we want to bring all our award winners back out here. And as the young students come back, here's how you can learn more about the Arbor Day activities and events in Vermont. Go to the website for Vermont's Urban and Community Forest Program. It's vtcommunityforestry.org. And before we go, Rebecca, a final word about Arbor Day?
Yes, Arbor Day is Friday, May 6th, and take a little time to think about and celebrate the trees and what we get from them.
Terrific. Well, I want to thank you all for coming on. Great work, everybody. That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.